Hello students, my name is Prerna and I am your EVS teacher. And today from your EVS book Enviro, we are going to be reading chapter number 7. Let us start reading this chapter. This is chapter number 7 and the name of the chapter is our forest. So we are going to read about forest. So we have read about animals, we have read about plants, now about human beings, now we are going to read about forest. First, let us understand that what exactly is a forest. A forest is a large area of land where numerous trees grow on their own. It includes herbs, shrubs, wild plants, and flowers. The trees which grow in forests depend on the climate and the soil of that area. The plants in a forest grow naturally, so these are referred to as natural vegetation. So we have read about what exactly is the definition of forest. That is a large area where plants and trees grow. And what kind of a forest it is, that is what kind of trees or what kind of plants are grown in that particular forest. It depends upon the natural vegetation, that is, it depends upon the climate of that area and various other factors like soil and what are the nutrients that it gets. All right. It says, due to wide range of climatic condition, India has various types of forest at different places. Because India has different climate at different places, different climatic conditions. So, because of that, India has various types of forest in different locations. First is evergreen forest, then that is they remain green throughout the year. Monsoon forest, that where the plants or the trees mainly flourish during monsoon. Mountain forest, of course located in mountains. Desert forest, and then you have tidal forest. Example given here is Sundarban. Now, what is the importance of forest? They provide us clean air. They provide us medicines, of course, because of certain herbs that grow. They supply food. They protect soil. Trees prevent the top layer of the soil from being washed away by flowing rainwater and wind. That is, they help in prevention of soil erosion. Then, of course, wood is supplied, food is supplied, and of course, they also help in the prevention of flood. The dense growth of plants block the flow of rainwater. The water collects on the forest floor and it slowly gets into the water. It seeps into the soil. People living in forest. So there are some people who do not live in cities, who do not live in towns or villages, but they live in forest. Forest is a home for them. People who live in or near the forest and are dependent on forest products for their survival are called as tribals. And in India, tribals are known as Adivasis. The word Adivasi is derived from the Sanskrit language, which means first dweller. The largest concentration of tribes is found living off the forest in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bengal, and Chota Nagpur Plateau. Then you have Nilgiri Hills, Garo Khasi, and Jayantaya Hills, and the Andaman and Nicobar Island. So, on the map of India, if you have to mark the forest region, you will be marking Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, then areas of Bengal, then the Nilgiri Hills and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and various other places. And these will generally be marked with color green to signify the presence of forest. The life of a tribal person centers around the collection of forest products. That is, they are dependent mainly on forest products. They don't have markets for products like we have. Early in the morning, groups of women set out towards the forest. Once there, they worked individually collecting tendu leaves, char and sal seeds, palash or dhak, sarai or dori, and then kusum, sisal and bamboo. So they collect different birds or they collect different fruits. Heat, lack of water, thorns, and cuts to the hands make this work difficult, but these products help the woman to obtain fruit oil and medicine. There are also raw materials for a number of items such as brooms, baskets, mats, rope. We're talking about which raw material? Jute, right? Some forest products such as char, leaf plates, or datun, they are sold for a small cash income, which is sometimes used for buying clothing, oil, or spices. Certain tribes collect forest products for their main occupations. They make baskets and brooms out of bamboo. The main occupation of Orans of Bihar and Pardhi of Madhya Pradesh is mat weaving, although they are also farmers. The hill Korwa of Madhya Pradesh live by hunting, gathering minor forest products, and collecting firewood. The forest people make their baskets and roof thatches from cane of pet, bamboo, and tall grasses in the forest. They also make neat mats, that is chatai, from straw and cane strips. So see, a rope is being made from a bark, from a bark. Each area has its own special kind of craftwork. So these tribals, using the forest product, make beautiful baskets and mats and ropes and what else not. So they make a number of beautiful things that are sold in markets, mainly for home decor, or maybe for keeping, like you have baskets in your home, jute baskets or bamboo baskets that are used for keeping, let's say, fruits and vegetables. So where does all this come from? So it comes from far off forests where people are involved into making of these items. Most tribal people make their bows, arrows, and boats from forest timber and vines. Strong ropes are made from vines and tree bark to tie things or to make rope bridges across streams. Now we talk about deforestation. What exactly is deforestation? In simple words, the act of cutting down trees or cutting a forest. It is called as deforestation, and when it is done for personal benefit. So the act of cutting down a forest for personal benefit is called as deforestation. The greed for good timber makes many logging companies and contractors cut down large forest areas. The reckless cutting down of trees often leads to floods and landslides. Remember, we studied that how forests are useful. They help in the prevention of flood. Leads to flood and landslides that can block roads and destroy villages in the mountains. It is also responsible for soil erosion, which makes soil infertile. It deprives many birds and insects and animals of their homes. So these are uh, this is the impact of deforestation. So the first is that it often leads to the increase in the water flow during floods. Second, it leads to soil erosion. Then the homes of so many animals, birds, and even human beings is lost because of deforestation. Because we've read that for Adivasis, this forest itself, these are the this like a home for them. In places where forest cover has been removed, Adivasis face extreme shortage of fodder, firewood, and timber. Women walk a distance of 10 to 12 kilometers twice a week for firewood, gathering wild tubers and roots on the way. They often prepare dung cake as a substitute for firewood. Cattle are taken to neighborhood regions in search of fodder. To gather grass for thatching roofs or timber for construction, the tribal people of northern Andhra Pradesh travel anywhere between, imagine, 30 to 120 kilometers, sometimes walking the whole day. For medicinal plants and herbs that are widely used in the villages, medicine men travel for at least 2 months in the forest, which is more than 100 kilometers away. So people travel such long distances only for livelihood. Now we talk about protecting the forest. As forests are treasure houses of valuable natural resources, it is important for us to protect forests. Not only because they are useful to us, but also because the survival of future generations depend on them. Tribals follow many methods to protect forests and forest products. So, what are these? A number of tribes practice swidden farming, that is slash and burn agriculture, which is called. It says burning smaller plants to make a clearing, which is then used for sowing crops. This same clearing is not used over and over again, but it is left fallow after one crop. This helps the land to get back its nutrients and become rich and fertile again. Jhum farming or jhuming farming or agriculture is also very interesting. After cutting one crop, the land is left as it is for some years. Nothing is grown on that particular land. The bamboo or weeds which grow on that land are not pulled out. They are cut and burnt. The ash makes the land fertile, while burning care is taken so that the fire does not spread to other parts of the forest. When the land is ready for farming, it is lightly dug up, not plowed. Seeds are dropped on it. In some farms, different types of crops like maize, vegetables, chilies, and rice can be grown. Weeds and other unwanted plants are also not pulled out, they are just cut so that they get mixed with the, they kind of, it is ensured that the fertility of the soil is not lost, neither any harm is done to the new plants that are being grown, to the new crop. This also helps in making the soil fertile. If some families not able to do farming on time, others help them and are given food. About 3/4 people in Mizoram are linked to forest. Nowadays, chum farming is not practiced as it is responsible for a lot of forest destruction by clearing the peaks. All right. Now we talk about sacred groves. Okay. Many tribal communities believe in sacred groves, that is, it is a patch of forest land which is protected by the local communities that live around this because it is supposed to be sacred to a particular deity. So, some forest is considered sacred, very pure. So, these forests are worshipped. Villagers are usually allowed to pick up dead wood from the grove but not to cut any living tree. It is believed that something terrible will happen to the whole village if even one person breaks the divine law and cuts any tree. As a result, these sacred groves contain trees and rare medicinal plants that have disappeared from other places. Many groves have water sources to store water. This water is released during the dry period. Sadly, only about 13 to 14,000 groves remain in patches across the country today. Some of the places are shown in the given map. So you have in areas of Rajasthan. So these are the states where you have the where you have the sacred groves. So you have these are present in Rajasthan, in Karnataka, and then in Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand also, Western Assam, and then you have it in Meghalaya, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu. Now we talk about some important movements related to the protection of forests or the protection of environment. The Bishanis and the Chipko movement. The Bishanis of Rajasthan have practiced forest conservation for centuries. They are great lovers of trees, animals, and birds and do not hesitate to give up their lives to protect nature. So, there's a particular community in Rajasthan that that is a staunch believer, a strong believer of protection of forests. In 1730, the Maharaja of Jodhpur has ordered his men to cut a forest of keshri trees because he wanted some wood to fire bricks in his place. However, Amrita Devi, a Vishnoi woman, laid down her life by hugging the tree People from 84 other villages laid down their lives to protect the trees. Imagine the love these people have for forest or for the trees. More than 360 people lost their lives in a single day. The king was saddened when he heard about this incident, and finally he banned cutting down of the trees and the killing of animals in his snowy villages. One of the most famous movements led by common people to protect trees, the Chipko movement, which began in 1973 in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand and spread throughout the Uttarakhand Himalayas. So you can see these group of people who were trying to protect the forest. In April 1973, contractors for a sports good company came to cut down ash trees from crest near Mandal village. The villagers, led by Chandi Prasad Bhatt and the DGSM, that is the Shali Gram Swarajya Mandal, went and hugged the trees of the forest, refusing to let them be cut down. A year later, group of men came to the forest next to Rainy village prepared to cut down 2,500 trees for their contractor. The men had been cunningly sent away to another village because the contractors were afraid that they would protest. So the woman of the village, led by Gaura Devi, an old woman, she hugged the ash tree and would not let them cut it. With these actions, the movement called Chipko, so they would stick kind of, they would hug themselves to the tree. So it's like sticking to the tree. So it was a Chipko movement, which means to clinch on or to hug something tight. It became famous all over Uttarakhand. Women played an important role in its spread. The state government finally accepted that the people should have a say in the cutting down of trees. The Chipko movement does not stop people from cutting down trees. Instead, its members focus on the number of trees to be cut, from which place they should be cut, and how the timber should be used. It inspired many people's movement to save the environment around the world. Some examples are of eco movement in Karnataka, the Narmada Bachao Andolan, and the Chilka Lake agitation in Orissa. So, what is the role of an individual or community? That is, that many state forest departments have now officially given Adivasis the right to protect the forest they live in through joint forest management, which permits them to harvest some forest resources in return. They are involved in the care of forests and planting of trees. Some of the programs also provide the local people with good drinking water and roads. Trees and plants are also protected in reserved forests and parks and wildlife sanctuaries. Felling of green trees is not permitted in these sanctuaries and bioreserves. Trees are very important to us and we must conserve them. People in forests and villages who live in natural surroundings have always known this. In towns and cities too, people have become to realize the importance of growing trees. All over the country, people now celebrate the One Mahotsav, that is, it's like a forest day, maybe you can say, a tree planting day. There are many ways in which we can help to ensure the fewer trees are cut. Like China has already made the beginning with 60% of its paper being manufactured from paddy, wheat, and sugarcane, and it is called tree-free pulp. In India, too, efforts are being made to produce this kind of paper out of agricultural waste. So, imagine what would be life without forest. They have there are so many medicines that we get from forest, and of course a lot of things that we use on daily basis, a simple thing like paper, and is that we get from forest. So but it like in the concluding part of the chapter, it is given that how we can actually make paper through agriculture waste, and there's no need to cut down the trees, because the more you cut down the trees, the more greenery you remove from planet earth. We human beings do not realize that we are putting ourselves more and more into trouble. We are digging a hole for ourselves in which, if we get stuck, it will be very difficult for us to come out of that hole or come out of that pit, right? So we need to ensure that we take care of our environment, and even in the park near your house, please do not ever try to probably harm that tree, or if you see small plants, do not just pluck the plants like that, just for the sake of fun, because this way, as I told you, you're just harming the environment. All right, but I'm sure you all are responsible citizens and you all are responsible beings, so you will take care of your environment. Thank you so much.